Hey, welcome back. This segment is brought to you by News.tv. That is spelled N-O-O-Z. It is a news citizen journalist site that you can join. Just go to NOOZ.tv. He is the world's funniest man. Gary Mule Deer has a unique comedy style with an incredible music repertoire. He actually does Johnny Cash better than Johnny Cash. He has appeared for 26 years with Johnny Mathis. He is also a regular at the Gran Ole Opry, and there is a documentary being done on him. He's a longtime friend of mine from decades of celebrity golf events, but he also played in one of the greatest sports foursomes of all time. He will regale us on that. He comes to us from Spearfish, South Dakota. Gary Mule Deer, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, John. Great to hear your voice again.
And vice versa. Now, people always ask, is that your real name?
No, it isn't. Gary Mule Deer is not my real name. I changed it. My real name's Elizabeth Mule Deer.
See, I figured that's why you got into so many of those LPGA tournaments.
Yeah, you know what? I got into some great LPGA tournaments. You know, we talk about golf, and we will talk about golf. It really changed my life, John. I mean, 33 years ago when I when it came out of rehab, I needed a new addiction, and I took up golf, and it changed everything. That's one of the reasons why you and I are talking right now. We've been at a golf event. I mean, it's it was a lifesaver. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm thankful for it, too, because you and I have had some great times. I want to talk about some of the stuff that's gone on with the COVID, because I know you had like 62 shows canceled this year. I would imagine you are playing a lot of golf. Are you holding up pretty good?
I tell you, okay, here's my golf game. Other guys hit off the tee. You hear things like, nice drive, great shot. You got all of that one. When I hit, you hear things like, that'll work. That one hurt you. I think it opens up over there. I hit one yesterday. Guy said, sounded good. I said, where'd it go? I said, I didn't see it. I started out at a place in California called Balboa, Encino Balboa Country Club. And the pro was the 15. I took a playing lesson. I had to give him 5 aside. But anyway, my golf game, John, this is my golf game. From the red tees, I'm a 20. From the gold tees, I'm a 22. From the whites, I'm a 26. And from the blues, I just try to hit it past the reds.
So you're still not a scratch golfer?
I'm only time I'm a scratch golfer is when my ball goes in the woods and I rub up against a little poison ivy. That would be it. I'll tell you what, my golf game, I'll sum it up. On a par 5, my par 5 for me is a driver, 2 7-woods, an 8-iron, and a 3-putt. If you want a 7 for a 6, I'm your guy.
This is TVS Presents Sport Magazine on radio. I'm John Daly. We're talking with comedian and musician Gary Mule Deer. To find out more or to find out where Gary is performing in your area, go to GaryMuleDeer.com. All right, you got to tell me about this because I've never known about this, even though you and I have talked a lot. Your first time playing in the Kraft Nabisco LPGA, you actually had some legends. Tell us about Hondo, Johnny U, and the Yankee Clipper.
I get a call the night before playing my first Kraft Nabisco championship, and it's from Terry Wilcox, who was running the thing, and he said, "Your practice round is at 10:30, Mr. Mule Deer. You were going out with Joe DiMaggio, John Havlicek, and Johnny Unitas. Is that okay?" And that was the most nervous tee shot of my life. Must have gone at least 35 or 40 yards when I topped it. Yeah, it was. But you know, out of that came great friendships. I got to know with DiMaggio really well. He liked me, I think, because I was a clean comedian. Also, a couple of things with him. He not only did he like what I did, but you know, he said to me one time, honest to God, John, this is what he said to me. He said, "You know, one of the reasons why you and I get along so well?" I say, "Why?" He said, "Because you never asked about her." Understand that?
About Marilyn.
That's right. And also, his niece said 2 hours before he passed away in the hospital, he was listening to one of my cassettes, you know, in his room. So, yeah, we became great friends. It was great, these golf tournaments. You know, I was a Yankee. I am a Yankee fan, 71 years, man. And when I got to start playing with people like Yogi Berra and Joe DiMaggio and Whitey Ford, and then I got to know people like Johnny Bench, the greatest catcher ever, people like that, you know. Just, it all came together, meeting all the people like everybody from Clint Eastwood to Oh man, the list goes on and on. We played them together, John. You know what it was like. All of our heroes,
Yeah.
and yeah, this
It's
is how it all.
it's one of the great things of being able to play in these celebrity golf events. You do get to meet so many of the stars from other fields
Yeah.
that normally you wouldn't get a chance to. I had a great story about Joe DiMaggio from a producer of mine from TV News, and it was during the San Francisco earthquake, and
Uh-huh.
he was getting video of people standing in line for water. And at the back of the line was Joe DiMaggio, and he noticed him, and he goes, "Oh my God!" So he went up to interview him. He goes, "Joe, what are you doing back here?" He says, "You could probably go up there." And he goes, "No, I'm standing in line and waiting like every other person." And he said it was so refreshing that this guy who was a legend,
Yeah.
he just felt he was a citizen and he was going to be a citizen like the rest of them. So when you say that he was playing your stuff as he was
Yeah.
dying, that is such a great tribute.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing when I think about it. All the stuff that we got to do together and just getting to know him. It was pretty cool. God, wow.
Wow, that's fabulous. Talk about Johnny U, because I actually had some time with Johnny U in some celebrity golf events, and I found him to be just a delightful, sweet man.
He was exactly the same way. Him and Havlicek, all three of them were incredible gentlemen. It was a whole different, era that those guys came from. I got to hear great stories. I hear stories from Havlicek, like when he was on the Celtics, he came in the dress. He was the only guy that wasn't smoking. Stuff like
Wow.
that. Oh yeah, the guys that once in a while they'd have Red pull him out of the game so I could run down into the dressing room to have a cigarette. I mean, just great stories like that. Pretty cool.
Wow. What's interesting is that when I've played in celebrity golf events, I've run into very few jerks. And when
That's
you're
right.
playing with somebody in a golf event, if they do that, you usually end up with really good people. Do you find that the same way too?
You do, and also if you play the same golf event, I'll guarantee you they're not there the next year. That's what I like about the really well-run golf tournaments. If there are any jerks, they just aren't invited back. That's what's so great about the whole thing. I've always liked that. I've always been the usually the C or D player with the groups. It's kind of funny, and a couple of times I've actually come up to my group on the tee box and said, "Geez, I thought we were supposed to have a celebrity." And the guys just kind of go, "Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe he's late, that kind of thing." Which doesn't happen as much anymore, but it did for a while. If people go to my website now, GaryMuleDeer.com, they're going to see all the work I didn't do this year. I mean, I had 40 dates with the Steve Miller Band and Marty Stewart, and probably a dozen Grand Ole Opry's, probably 15 or 16 events with Johnny Mathis. It's really been. It's pretty bad. I actually can say I'm actually really getting tired of playing golf. but
Wow, that's hard to believe, but
it is
certainly
hard to believe.
understandable. Again, we're talking to Gary Mule Deer. He's comedian and musician. You can go to his website, GaryMuleDeer.com, and once he gets playing again, you can find out where he's playing. Tell me about this documentary on you.
Via Productions out of Memphis, a producer and a director have these. They were since they were 10 years old, have been friends of mine, and they're in their 30s and 40s now, and they've decided that I am the most unrecognizably famous person that they know. And they've gone through every show I ever did, and we've done hours of interviews. They've come out on the road with me. They've gone to me at the Gran Ole Opry. I've brought up all the stories I can do, all the stories about the road. It's a whole other thing for me to be able to talk about this stuff. John, like I said before, golf saved my life. My life has been pretty much it's been a big long list of 4-letter words. My name is 3 4-letter words, right? My hair has always been a big part of my look, whether it was my straightened out to the Beatles, had a cowboy hat on it so I could do the Tonight Show, or when I let it grow into be the world's largest afro in the 70s on the John Biner Comedy Hour, But I mean, I play, I do a show, I sing, I pick, I joke, I do golf. And the greatest 4-letter word ever in my life is my wife, Nita, of course, which, so Johnny Cash was my musical influence. There's Cash. Jack Benny was my comedy influence. There's Jack. The game of Keno took me off at the knees. Combining cocaine and quinoa was great for for just about it enabled me to stay up longer, lose more, and rationalize about it. Okay.
I'm so glad that everything turned out the way because I got a chance to spend a lot of time with you and enjoy all the things that you do. Real quickly, we got about 3 minutes left here. You're now the oldest celebrity that's going to play at the AT&T at Pebble. Is that because Clint's no longer playing?
No, Clint's not playing anymore, but Tom Dreesen's missed last year, so I was the oldest. Both of us will be back this year. I think Tom's maybe a couple months older than me, but yes, we are. I can't believe it, I can't believe I was born 2 weeks after Gone with the Wind was released. It's amazing. I'm 1 year older than Bugs Bunny and 2 years younger than Porky Pig. Your listeners can figure that one out.
Okay, now you are one of the few comedians, and Joe DiMaggio even said this to you, that you can actually take your kids and your grandma to see you. Has comedy changed at all for you in these touchy times? I
think it probably would if I got a chance to work. I'd let you know. No, it really, for me, I've always been. Okay, here's a dirty joke. Okay, Guy decides to leave New York and he wants to be a cowboy. He goes to Wyoming and he buys a cattle ranch. 3 months later, one of his friends comes out and says, "This is incredible." He says, "What did you decide to name the ranch?" The guy said, "I decided to name it the Lazy R XX Spear 777 Diamond Mountain Ranch." His friend said, "That's great. Where are all the cows?" And the guy said, "None of them survived the branding." Now, the only reason I say it's a dirty joke is there's nothing dirtier than a cattle ranch, okay? And I got a laugh out of you. That was worth the whole thing, okay?
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I hadn't heard that one before. That's actually a new one.
That's right. Got it. It's come for got a couple I can't wait to try out on people, Guys in the doctor's office being examined for a possible concussion. Doctor says, "You know where you are?" And the guy says, "Mercy Hospital." Doctor says, "Okay, what city and state?" The guy says, "Des Moines, Iowa." Doctor says, "What's my name?" Guy says, "Dr. Bob Richardson." Doctor gets up, says, "I'll be right back." Guy turns to the nurse and says, "I hope he doesn't ask me any more questions." Nurse said, "Why?" The guy said, "That's all he had on his badge."
I was going to say, one of my favorite lines for you is when you ask people if they like country music.
Oh, yeah. I say, "Yeah, here's one from Algeria." Yes, it always works. It's still working. After 50-some years, I'm still doing that joke. There's a lot of them that I still do in my shows. Still work really well. My grandpa stuff still works great. I mean, I've written some of the stuff. Some of the stuff Steve Martin and I wrote back in the early '60s together. Literally.
Wow. All right, we've been talking to Gary Mule Deer. He is the funniest man in the world. He's a comedian and also a musician. If you have not seen him in person, I urge you to do it as soon as you can. His website is GaryMuleDeer.com. Gary, my friend, again, thank you so much. Great to talk to you.
Great to talk to you. And Nita's standing here right by me, too.
Hey, John.
Well, you give her a big hug and kiss from me and Terry.
Okay, you got it.
See you guys.
And to you guys, too. All right, man.
Gary Mule Deer, everybody. Thank you. All right. Hey, boxing fans, tune into the TVS Boxing Network, 70 years of TV boxing from 1950 to today for free. Ali, Frazier, Liston, Foreman, all on the TVS Boxing Network. Watch now at TVSTVNetworks.com. When we come back, the answer to our trivia question and my not-so-funny commentary. And this guy's got a sports show? Come on back. We'll be right back in a bit.